Commiserations, Liam, on your 2025-26 Premier League relegation. Well, that's what the comments are going to be probably anyway. Burnley, hey, we're back. Let's see how we do this time, boys. Now, of course, if you're a Burnley fan like myself, you won't care. You're going to have a good time. Everyone loves it. Burnley are massive. Love it. This means that Burnley have been promoted from the Championship for the 4th season in a row, which I don't think that's been done before. I don't think even Norwich won it 4 times in a row. Oh, at least been promoted 4 times in a row. I may need to go check that though. Give me 1 second. Even Norwich didn't even do it 3 times in a row. And that is under Sean Dyche twice, Vincent Kompany, and Scott Parker. 3 completely different ways of playing the sport. That means that in 182 games, Burnley have lost 15 games. In 4 seasons, Burnley have lost 15 games. Now, enough of me talking about how good Burnley are. Let's look at the actual comments. Yeah, those comments look great. You don't care. Look, I get it, right? I'd be the same thing. I was the same thing. When I saw Norwich going up each time, or Fulham, or whoever else, you kind of want someone new in Premier League. You want to see Bristol City. You may want to see Sunderland back. You want to see something a bit new. The idea of Burnley and Sheffield and after being back in the Premier League just seems a bit pointless. Like, let's be honest, we didn't do that well last time. Now, the thing is, will this time be any different? I'll go into my thoughts on that. But also, fair play to Leeds United as well, that they are also promoted after trying their absolute best to destroy themselves. But somehow, Sheffield United did it even worse, losing 3 games in a row to Oxford United, Plymouth Argyle, and Millwall. Leeds tried their best. They really did. So comment down below, how do you think Burnley would do next year? And also, let's say Leeds. And who do you think win the playoffs? Like, subscribe, Mazel Designs for the best prints all made by myself. Use code Vizeh for 15% off. Of course, got the Josh Brownhill goals on the site as well for you clarets. Come on, Burnley! Defense wins championships, and that's what's happened with Burnley here. I think people are kind of bored about how good Burnley's defense is because it's what everyone talks about. But Jesus Christ, it's getting stupid now. 31 games unbeaten. That is remarkable. But people kind of don't care in the same way because it's, it's just unbeaten in the Championship. You got a good team. Boo-hoo. Big shock. However, when it comes to the actual season in terms of defensive stats, just to remind yourself here, Burnley have not conceded 2 goals in a league game all season. We're 44 games in. There's 2 games left. We've not conceded 2 goals in an entire season at this stage. Now, we've just been promoted, so QPR away next weekend. We may end up conceding 2 now. Burnley went 12 games in a row without conceding a single goal. That's over 1,000 minutes of football. And with 2 games left, we've got 29 clean sheets. Now, the thing is, when it comes to clean sheets, people will say, yeah, but how many of those were 0-0 draws? I think it was 13. I guess I don't care now. Now, of course, I'm not dumb enough to pretend that I didn't say the things I said at the start of the season. For me, my thoughts on Scott Parker stays the same. I said the exact same thing when we appointed him. You can look back at my videos and what I said online. Scott Parker, I felt like, could do a good job with Burnley in the Championship. I think he could do a decent job and should probably get us promoted. I still have complete concerns about if he can maintain us in the Premier League, like, massively. Burnley, at one point, couldn't really score many goals. We are scoring a few more goals now. However, I still feel like it's still a big ask for the Premier League with the team that we have. We could try and change some players, but I feel like we may try to keep this a similar group to what we have this time around compared to last time. With Kompany, we had a group in Championship that was a great bond, playing fantastic football. In the Premier League, we basically had 6 new players starting against Man City first game of the season. They was a completely different team. I got a feeling that will change, and we're going to keep quite a similar team to what we have this year to the Premier League. And for me, that's a concern, because for me, I think we may have 3-2 players that is actually really Premier League quality. James Trafford and Maxime Esteve are absolutely Premier League quality for me. However, the rest, I got to find out. And that's not me being really harsh. Like Josh Brownhill, for example, you should say should be Premier League quality. However, again, times that we've been in Premier League, 4 or 5 years with him now, it kind of feels like he could be a bit, lost at times because it's a big jump. The same thing was said about Josh Cullen last year, which I thought he was going to take it to like a duck to water. Now, to give some credit to Scott Parker that people do forget is that the season, the way it started, was completely different to how it's ended. The team that we had back in August was completely ripped apart. We had still Wilson Odebo, we still had Dara O'Shea, we still had goddamn Vizeh Dooney, Wout Weghorst. Anna Sururi, Scott Trine, and also the entire year I've had big players missing like Jordan Bayer has not played a single minute. Same thing with Aaron Ramsey, not played a single minute. Nathan Redmond as well. Compared that just in 1 week, the entire team was ripped apart, where at that stage about 5-6 players were gone in a week, where when they were all big players between Cardiff at home and Sunderland away, playing a completely different team with players in wrong positions. He's done a good job. And in terms of signings, most of the main ones were made on loans, which was then to permanent signings, which I guess we got the pleasure of doing so. So Jadon Anthony, Fleming, Edwards, they're signings that were loans that of course we made permanent if we went up. Fortunately, we did. Now, of course, I don't want to take away the fact that we've gone promoted. I don't want to take that away from us. We're promoted, it's great. But to every single person that's watching it, that's not me and not a Burnley fan, you're like, again, really? Like, I'm looking at the Premier League table now and I'm seeing Southampton on 11 points with like 5 games left, Leicester with 18 points and Ipswich with 21. In the end of the season, when they're fighting for their lives, they've got 1 win between the 3 of them in the last 5 games. There's a 15-point gap between 17th and 18th. It might as well be a completely different league. And the thing is, I look at the side for, let's say, Ipswich. I think they got some good players in there. Like, I really was excited about them. But man, and the problem for me, I've got complete faith that Ipswich and Leicester will just walk the championship next year. Southampton, I still think they'll be fine. I think they may struggle a little bit more, but I think they'll maybe, you know, in playoffs still. Kind of just depend on who they bring in as a manager. McKenna stays at Ipswich. I think Ruud van Nistelrooy and Leicester will do pretty good in the championship. They'll be fine. Like, I absolutely love the championship. And like, I'm happy that we're promoted, but I think that's more just because of financial reasons. Like, if Burnley don't go up, we're going to end up just becoming a Stoke, just mediocre and average and pathetic. No offense if you're a Stoke fan, but let's be honest here. So is there a way to change this? I don't think so, unless if the money systems in football change. The Premier League teams make so much money compared to Championship teams that they just have such a massive advantage. Again, no surprise that Burnley, Leeds and Sheffield United have the 3 biggest wages in the league and they're all in the top 3. Now, that doesn't guarantee success. I mean, look, Luton Town was in the Premier League last year. They could very well be looking like they could still be going down. Like, Luton have been doing better. They've won 2 games in a row, and yet they are still in the bottom 3. I did predict, though, that Luton would stay up in the end. I predicted Plymouth, Cardiff, which looks like that's 2 still accurate. I did say Stoke. So that's on me. I kind of banked completely on Cardiff and Stoke City being a draw, which it was looking like it was going to be a draw. And I didn't think they beat Sheffield Wednesday, and well, they beat them. So they did lose 6-0 yesterday. So, you know, they are poor, but they got the 2 big wins. I banked on them being draws, and if they did draw those games, then, you know, they would still be probably in the bottom 3. But I predicted Burnley first, Leeds second, Sheffield United third. I think Burnley and Leeds, Leeds have got Bristol City and Plymouth fighting for their lives. Burnley, QPR is not fighting for much, and Millwall that may not be fighting on the final day. But Millwall are doing well. Playoffs, I did say that it'll be, I believe, Coventry, Middlesbrough and Bristol City. Now, Bristol City are still in there, and it looks like they actually may still be in playoffs here. They did lose to Luton, which I thought they would, but they did get a big win against Sunderland. I thought that could maybe be a draw or something, so it is what it is. But this is the issue. It's like every single team from 3rd to 7th yesterday lost. Like, every single team, which is ridiculous. Swansea have won 5 in a row, by the way. Like, when did that happen? So is the Premier League becoming a closed shop? Well, you would think so, but I guess the actual facts of it is not true. You may get 1 or 2 teams that still goes up and down. However, last year was Ipswich Town. The year before was Luton Town. You know, these are new teams that entered the league. The year before that, you had Forest, which, again, is a new team in terms of historically speaking. They've not been there for the last, like, decade or 2. And the year before that, you had Brentford. That, again, was a new team. So, technically, the idea of it being a closed shop, if you actually look at the facts here, is not even really true. Like, 3-4 years in a row, we've got, like, 4 years in a row, we've got a new team. And this year could still be a new team. Like, it could still be a Sunderland that historically may not be a new Premier League team, but they've not been there for, like, a near decade. It could still be Bristol City, and it could still be Coventry. And Borough haven't been there for like 6 years now, 7 years now. So Sheffield United goes up this year, and yeah, it'd be kind of boring. But as we're still speaking, it could still be a new team up this year for the most part. We should make it 5 years in a row that there's a new, relatively new team in the league. So is it a closed shop? Yes and no. There's an advantage, but doesn't guarantee success. Ask Luton Town. Ask Stoke City. Ask Watford. ask Norwich. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Do I think Burnley will stay up next year? I mean, look, Scott Parker, I think he will try to make us hard to beat, at least for the start of it anyway. I'd be surprised if he's still there by Christmas, but I would love for him to prove me wrong. I really love. I think he'll get less money than what Company got. So if we try and make ourselves hard to beat, try and stay in games more, which we definitely will a lot more than under Company, if we can add 2-3 like important players up top or in midfield, like really good players, if we can do that, we have a chance. We have a chance. So for the playoffs, I said that I think Sunderland will win it. I mean, they've lost 3 in a row, but I wouldn't say really any team in the playoffs is particularly that great. Like, I think any team in the playoffs is gettable, really. So I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to still say Sunderland. I probably shouldn't because they've lost 3 in a row. However, I think they kind of know that the season's done, so I think they're putting their foot off the gas a bit. Maybe dumb to do, but I'm still banking them. So that's my thoughts. Up the Clarets. See ya.